who was the son of Madhu. Madhu kidnapped Kumbinasi, and all this is a reference to Vibhishan said to Ravana, already you're getting reactions to your sinful activities. This Kumbinasi was kidnapped by Madhu as a reaction to your nefarious, mischievous, sinful activities. So please stop your sinful activities. Ravana didn't like it. Lust blinds people sometimes, and he was not going to hear from Vibhishan. In one of the Ramayanas, there's a discussion. There's only one of them, but after Hanuman did his damage in the garden, he met Vibhishan. No, excuse me, for his damaging the garden. He met with Sita. He met Vibhishan, at least according to one version of Ramayana. There's multiple. And so Vibhishan is met by Hanuman, who's in this disguised feature because he had shape-changing abilities. And then he went and did what he did in destroying the gardens, etc. Then the next we hear about Vibhishan is when Hanuman was captured with ropes and brought before Ravana. Ravana decided kill him. And Vibhishan reminded Ravana that you can't do that. That's not virtuous. You don't kill a messenger. You can, even if they've caused destruction, you can punish them, but you can't kill them. It's just a rule of kings. And so Ravana accepted. And the plan that Ravana came up with was, he's a monkey. Monkeys are very fond of their tails. So set his tail on fire. So they gathered a bunch of cloth, soaked the cloth in oil, and lit the cloth. While Hanuman is just sitting there knowing what's next. He's going to burn Lanka. And he did. And after he burned Lanka and killed so many soldiers that came after him, etc., 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 Ravana called court the next day. The city has been burned. Many, many soldiers have been harmed. What should be done? I'm asking my council of ministers. And they said this and that and the other thing. Vibhishan spoke and said the same thing. This is a sinful reaction. So the one thing that you should do, just return Sita, and you can relieve yourself of that burden. So he closed the court, came the next day to see Vibhishan. Vibhishan said a very lengthy thing. Same thing. And Ravana didn't like it. He didn't accept. He was like, speaking Dharma to a Rakshasa. He didn't like it. So then he convened the assembly the next day, and he got the same message. And Ravana exploded in front of everybody. Here's Vibhishan offering his respect. He knows what his brother is. He knows what virtue is. He knows what sin is. Why did he stay with him? Anyways, I mean, most of us wouldn't hang around with such a cruel, sinful, wicked person. He was born into that family, so he's trying to help his family, his elder two brothers, to become a little different. He tried, and he tried, and he tried. The third time, Ravana came and kicked him in the chest. right in the royal assembly. He said, if you weren't my brother, I would kill you. So with that, right in the midst of the assembly, Vibhishan, 3 strikes and you're out. It's a baseball term, right? 3 strikes and you're out. So he left. And how did he leave? He had mystic powers. He rose in the air. This is that painting I was referring to. And there he is hovering in the air. Now the painting shows Ram and Lakshman, but it wasn't Ram and Lakshman, at least initially. Initially, it was the associates of Ramachandra. And he made this request through the agency of you, Sugriva, and others. Please convey my request to take shelter of Lord Ramachandra. So dutifully, Sugriva did that. And one of the chief persons of all the persons, that's Sugriva with the crown on. And there's Ram with a nice beard. He doesn't have a beard. And behind him, Lakshman, who also has a nice beard. He doesn't have a beard. And there's Hanuman. So they all said, and especially Sugriva was really outspoken. He just didn't trust him. He's got a motive. He knows that Ravana is going to get whooped and that he is next in line to become the king. He just wants to become the king. He's motivated. So I don't trust him. And who knows, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he expressed all of what he had to express. Now, there in the painting, it shows the Vibhishan hovering in the air with his 4 ministers, waiting for the verdict. Finally, he's been silent, but Hanuman is consulted. And Hanuman says something very simple. I know that Ram has already made his decision, because somebody who approaches him in the mood of submission, he'll accept. He's already been accepted. It's just he's being kind to all of us to ask our opinion. But I'm telling you, he's already accepted. Because it's his nature. He's very soft and very kind and very powerful. And then Ramchandra, hearing what Hanuman said, he narrated an incident from the past. It's a nice story about a dove that gave shelter to an eagle, even when the latter, the eagle, had killed the dove's wife. And then quoted, this is Ramachandra to that assembly, the words of sage Kandu, who was the son of Kanva, who is known to have spoken on virtue of giving shelter to anyone who subordinates himself to a person who is capable of giving shelter. That's 2. Then the third, he quoted the demerit of not doing so, scripture and scripture and scripture. And this was supposed to appease Sugriva. This is directly from Yudhakanda, Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana. And Sugriva was still not comfortable. So further doubts, Sugriva said, was what Sugriva said. And then Ram disclosed to Sugriva his power. Please understand, I can withstand any obstacle that may come my way. My power is unlimited. No, he's declaring himself as the personality of Godhead, not just, a virtuous king. But it's a very important section, just like there are places in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna reveals his divinity to Arjuna. Makes it a little easier for Arjuna to surrender. So he does something different but similar with Sugriva and expresses his unlimited power. And one of his powers is his compassion. So this particular section, this dialogue, is captured in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very celebrated verse. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. Important verse, very important verse. In the whole of the Ramayana, very important verse. The Sri Vaishnavas call this the Charma Shloka, the highest teaching. Again, it is my eternal principle that if any living being takes shelter of me even once, saying, I am yours, then I award that person freedom from all fear. Then Ram didn't say yes. He requested the main objector, Sugriva, to go inform Vibhishan, please come forward, because it was through Sugriva that he was making the request. Now you go back and inform him the answer is yes. No, Sugriva didn't give further arguments. And so there's the painting with Vibhishan with his 4 ministers behind him taking full shelter. And Ram is placing his hand on his head, accepting his submission. And there's the ministers, there's Vibhishan off with folded palms, and then behind him others, the 4 ministers with their weapons over their shoulder, and all the Vanaras overlooking, and Lakshman right next to Ramachandra. Now comes another commentary. The commentary is from Govindaraja again. There's a reason why he's respected amongst all of the commentators of Ramayana, because besides he wrote volumes and volumes and volumes, his insight and realizations are just fantastic. So he indicates that these 4 ministers are representative of the 4 elements of surrender. Now, this is the Sri Vaishnava perspective. We have our 6, this is Rupa Goswami, Sharanagati, 6 principles of surrender. Accepting everything favorable, rejecting everything unfavorable, accepting the Supreme Lord as one's protector,